What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, well, somebody had brought to my attention on a previous live stream, it actually might have been the Splinterlands TV live stream, an AMA done by Splinterlands and this project called Moonrunners. And so Moonrunners is an NFT PFP project. We can go here. I'm on their Twitter page right now. And you know, it's dog related or some kind of pet related. I think it's primarily dogs. They have some kind of land that they're working on called Primordia. There's some interesting elements of what they had, but I wanted to go through and just follow up for the folks that had been asking me about it. I listened through on the AMA, and I'll tell you this. It's kind of a nothing burger in the sense that this is not another project that is potentially being built out on the GLG or GLS or Arcade Colony platforms. This seemed more just like general outreach. And so the person on the live stream, the person on the AMA, the Twitter space, was 16-Bit John, who is the VP of Sales. And he talked through, he was the only guest on there. So it was a lot of him talking through to the Moonrunner community about what Splinterlands is. Now, the reason that I'm going into more depth into this rather than just telling you that nothing, there's nothing really there, is because I find it interesting that this is kind of being used as a marketing effort, even though John is like VP of Sales. And so I'm not criticizing this at all, but I'm just curious to see how far this gets us. So you can see 112 people tuned in. I don't know how many people played the recording afterwards. Obviously, I was one of the people that played the recording afterwards since I didn't catch it live. But now I'm curious how many more of these conversations are being done every week. Maybe this is something we can ask on a town hall, and what the effectiveness is of this outreach to other communities. Now, at the end of the day, I think outreach is good no matter what. And I don't know how, John or 16-Bit spends his time and whether or not this is necessarily worth his time. But I do like the fact that it is happening. It was a very pleasant conversation. I got to learn a little bit more about the Moonrunners project. The Moonrunners folks got to learn a little bit more about Splinterlands. And Splinterlands, at least by the numbers, has a very good track record. So when you just look at, the fact that they've been around for 5 years, that, we've played like 3 billion battles, there's rentals where you have all this type of, or all these kinds of utility for the NFTs that we have. I actually don't even think John mentioned the Ethereum-based project, which is Rooney, that kind of led into this. And that's kind of what I was waiting for the entire time. I thought maybe Moonrunners would be a group that would be interested in joining. And maybe those conversations are being had in the background, right? Maybe we get some like cool dog some cool flaming dog type of card in the game that gives utility to the Moonrunner community, and for us if we want to go and buy something like that as the Rooney 2.0. But ultimately, this wasn't anything that seemed like it was GLG or Arcade Colony or even Splinterlands related. It was more just like an outreach. And so we talk about what kind of marketing is the team doing. And again, 16-Bit John is like the VP of Sales. So it's one of those things like maybe should Chatter be on these things, or what is John trying to? Well, no, man, I guess John is trying to sell. So there's a weird divide between sales and marketing. But either way, I actually think it's a great way to reach out to communities that are already in the space. Now, I've been saying for a long time that I just don't think that going after Web 2 is necessarily the best move right now. NFTs, crypto even, is demonized to a certain extent, and NFTs definitely within gaming are demonized to a certain extent. So I just feel like we should be going after other NFT and crypto Web3 communities out there. And I actually think that this is a great way to do it. Now for John, he's spending like an hour of his time, maybe once a week or however often these are happening, to do some actual outreach to these groups. And maybe they come in and they check out Splinterlands, maybe they don't. But the fact is, like, Splinterlands is getting out there. A lot of these projects are learning more and more. And I do believe that when things turn around for Splinterlands and we start to be hopefully a premier project within the gaming space, right? Maybe not necessarily the crypto space, but within the gaming space, and we can start launching all of these different kind of subsets or sub-projects like GLG, Tower Defense, Arcade Colony. The fact that we're already out there and having these conversations, it's like the whole concept of like the warm handoff, or like, or not, actually that's not the best concept. It's like people need several impressions before they check things out. So for example, Moonrunners posted about this, and maybe they tweeted a couple of times, or even if they just tweeted once, somebody that's a Moonrunner fan, and again, they have what is it, 73,000 followers. I have to imagine a majority of those are fake. But the point being is that there are some real people there. There were 112 people that tuned in, and probably maybe couple hundred more that just saw the tweet and were like, nah, I'm not interested. But if they come across Splinterlands now in another context, right, where all of a sudden they see Splinterlands or SPS maybe doing well on the charts, maybe they see Splinterlands, Aggie doing another interview somewhere on the floor of the NASDAQ or with something else, all of a sudden they start to see multiple impressions of Splinterlands, and then they can go back to this and be like, wait a second, Splinterlands came and talked to the project that I'm a part of, Moonrunners. So let me go back and maybe listen to this, or maybe just let me go and check out the actual project itself and see what it's all about. So getting those impressions out there and having this long form content where John or whoever ends up going to these can actually give a solid overview of the project that it doesn't feel salesy, right? Because both sides were really trying to talk up their project, not in a salesy way, but just like, hey, these are the things that we've accomplished. These are the things that we're trying to do. There's a lot of talk from John about land and what land can bring in the future, and what we're all hoping that land can do. So it's exciting to see different things like that. And I really do believe that this type of outreach is actually going to be, fingers crossed, very effective in the long term, meaning that these are the people, right? The 112 people that tuned in, these are the people that are already in the space. These are people that get it. They're the type of people that are crypto native, crypto savvy. And when they go and they listen to Aggie or Matt on a town hall, if they ever come through and check it out, they're going to be like, oh, these guys are decentralization maxis. I like that, right? I get it. So that's why I'm feeling actually rather positive about this, even though there wasn't anything in there that's like newsworthy for the community as it is, whether you're part of the Splinterlands community, the Genesis League, or Arcade Colony communities, or both. But ultimately, I'm really excited about this. I'm curious to get your thoughts if you guys feel like this is a positive way for the team, or at least John, to be spending his time. Again, not that we have, if John has fun doing this, he should totally do it, right? Everybody has their own way of evangelizing Splinterlands and getting the word out there, and we all have a little bit of a responsibility. We're all trying to protect our bags at the end of the day, so we should be trying to get the word out. And if this is a solid way for him to do that, then awesome. But I'm curious to know if you have ever attended another let's say Splinterlands, actually not even Splinterlands, but have you ever attended another Twitter space that was like for a completely different project? Or have you ever attended something like this that drew you in and made you go and check out another project? That's really what I want to know, because I'm trying to see the effectiveness of it in the reverse. If people here on this channel have gone with Twitter spaces and checked out and maybe even participated, bought an NFT, or gotten involved in a project or a game or whatever the case is, in order to see how effective it's going to be in the reverse, if people will come in to the Splinterlands ecosystem through these. But that's all I have for you guys in this video. Just wanted to cover it a little bit because, like I said, it had been brought up to my attention. Wanted to do a quick follow-up. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.